because we limit our good if we only hold a belief in limited possibility. I've shared before that that really my favorite term for that, which is sometimes called God, is the realm of all infinite possibility. I don't know its name. I don't think it cares what name we give it. And the fact is, I don't even think, and really we know, there's not a separate it out there to have a name. There is wholeness. There is one. Today, I want to use a couple of images that I think you'll all have in your thoughts already. But I'm kind of found myself going down a rather science-y path this week to get here. And one of the thing that really fascinated me when I learned the little bit about Albert Einstein's brain that I know, and the main thing that's relevant to me is that Albert Einstein and I share a birthday. So there, every time everybody makes a fuss about Albert Einstein, I'm like, yeah, me too. Me and Albert, we're there. But one of the coolest things that I learned about how his science process worked, he didn't necessarily go by what we all may have learned in elementary school as the scientific method or the scientific process. You have an idea, you have a hypothesis, you test it out, you decide whether or not it's true, and so on. He used what we call thought experiments. He'd kind of like get a crazy thought, and somehow that thought, it wouldn't let go. Have you all had thoughts that they just don't want to go anywhere? Now, his thoughts were probably a lot different than my thoughts that won't go anywhere. And it's still the same thing. There's something in there. There's something in mind that is wanting to express through you. Because trust me, everybody else isn't having the same thoughts you are. We share an awfully lot of the same thoughts circling around things like gotta be there on time, there's too much traffic, I'm too busy, all of that kind of stuff. We share loads of those thoughts, but those are our human thoughts. But then there are the creative thoughts that come from creative mind. And somehow they come to us and we just can't let it go. And it seems that my guy Albert, he would get really crazy thoughts. Things like theories of relativity and things that I don't even understand, really. As much as I try, I really don't even understand what does E equals MC squared mean anyway? I know I can rattle it off. But the thing is, he used his mind, and not only his mind, not Albert's human mind. Albert learned how to access infinite mind, how to use creative mind, how to use that divine mind that is us. It's kind of like now we have a good analogy for that for computer farms, where they will have server farms and computers that are all joined together, and how much more we can do with that than with, it's one of those, the more we use, the better. It's an abundant universe. Infinite mind is truly infinite. You can use up as much of it as you want without hurting anyone else. So he would have these thoughts and he would work them out, playing with them. It was a game. I don't think we spend enough time letting our thoughts play. I know I don't. And I try to do it pretty regularly. And then I'm going to switch from how Albert's mind worked to the first astronaut, I'm not even sure it was an astronaut. It was the crew of Apollo 17, I believe, in 1972. Was the first time that humans had perspective away from the Earth to take that picture that we call the blue marble. You can all see that picture of the planet Earth against the black sky of space. First time humans were ever physically capable of taking a photo of the planet Earth. And you know, you all know you can't see any borders on that, can you? There's not a single line on that picture. Yes, the rivers that form borders or the oceans that form borders are there, but there's no sign. There's no sign saying this is where Arizona ends and this is where Mexico begins. There's no border on any of those pictures. Now we'll fast forward a little bit to Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan was involved with the first Voyager expedition, which is so crazy because it's actually still going on. It started in 1977, which is the year I got married, so I can remember that one. And when I Googled it today just to see, well, what's Voyager up to today? Well, it's starting to get a little old and glitchy, and its message, its languages, it's not being very understandable right now. But, you know, it's a piece of equipment that humans, using some of those thought experiments that Albert started out with, it's a machine that we put up there that has been taking pictures of our solar system for decades now. Carl Sagan had the thought in around 1990 that we should point that camera, instead of pointing out, that before it was turned sort of off, not totally, but before it stopped sending back pictures of what else is out there, we should turn it around and take what he called a family picture. Because no one had ever, you know, just as no humans had ever seen the planet Earth, this was a voyage that was specifically taking pictures and learning about the spaces between our planets and stars in our solar system. I'm gonna share something with you very quickly, and I'm just gonna show you, and you're not gonna be able to see anything, and I'm just gonna ask you to ignore a lot of this because this was not made for human consumption here. See this black box right here with the 3 stripes? Well, down here, down there, you can't see it. And even if you had the book in your hand, you wouldn't see it very well. This was my impression the first day that I read about Carl Sagan's message about the pale blue dot. In that picture that was finally seen it was on Valentine's Day, 1990. As they were looking at it, in a very hazy speck of, you know, I mean, it's the first picture we ever took of our solar system. So imagine, and it was a long time ago, so the resolution wasn't great. He noticed something as he looked at it, bigger and bigger, you know, tighter and tighter, that in that one sort of dust beam, there was a tiny, tiny, tiny little pale blue dot. And guess what that was? Well, here's what he had to say. And I have abridged this a bit. So this picture was taken from 3.7 billion miles away. And so it's in the family portrait. And here's what Carl Sagan had to say about that pale blue dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. Everyone you ever heard of, every human who ever lived, all our joys and sufferings, thousands of religions, ideologies, doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and every coward, every creator and every destroyer, every king and peasant, young couple in love, hopeful child, mother and father, inventor, explorer, every corrupt politician, every superstar leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. So how can we be separate? How can we, any of us, be separate from the whole that is? So the next thing I want you to think of as we kind of go through our little thought experiment here is think of some of the most amazing pictures you've seen from the Hubble telescope or the new ones that are coming out from the James Watt telescope. Oh gosh, you know, it just, as an artist, as a visual person who claims that title of creator, I see these, and my first human impression is, okay, well, I may as well give it up now. But then I remember it's not mine to live all the truth, all the life that there is. What's mine to do is what is mine to do. And you all are here to do what is yours to do. Over this past year, you know, anybody who is in leader in this community, and I don't know who all of you are who are leaders in this community, but if you're here present today, if you would just raise your hands, please, because I know some of you are. Don't be shy, because the rest of you at some point go up to them and say thank you, because they have done an awfully lot of work this year to bring you to this day. This is a big day in the life of this community. And the affirmation, I kind of wanted to share this from the CSL Global Themes. The suggested affirmation regarding this topic, which is in the name of wholeness, enriching the world. Infinite presence, this work we do today is dedicated to the wholeness and goodness of this center of spiritual living. We see this community as whole, complete, and empowered by Spirit's care now. Not once everybody's done seeking and figured it out. Not once we've all been, you know, tapped on the shoulders and, you know, knighted by the universe. Now. And each one of you, whether you are overtly a leader in this community or not, or whether you have just visited today for the first time, each one of you is contributing to the whole that is the universe, the whole that is the realm of infinite potential and possibility. If I were to tell you, now imagine that there's a line around all those pictures you've seen of the universe, and that then it ends. You came to the end. There is no more. There's this space, which is so vast and so infinite and so beautiful, so unimaginable. There's that little blue speck of which you are one of the several billions living on that little blue speck. If I were then to say, okay, but that's all there is, there's no more, would that even seem plausible? There is no end. There is no end to the wholeness that we are. We can't even really imagine it. There was another scientist I was going to throw in, but I can't remember if it was Galileo or who it was, Newton or Galileo or somebody. His big realization was that no matter if you shot an arrow, no matter how far it went, there would always be more space for it to go. And if you shot another arrow from that space, there would always be more space. And that all of this is life. This is what we are. When we say God is, I am, we are saying that that which we know as the infinite exists. And I am an integral part of that. I'm not separate from it. It's not that we're a bunch of little capsules or little Lego bricks all being put in where we need to be. We are that. We have access through our mind to divine mind, which is infinite mind. And this is not specific to New Thought. You know, these same principles are taught through all faith traditions. We just use the words that we can relate to the best. So I hope that today, as you go forth in your day, and I know that some of you have already cast your vote, some of you will be voting, you'll be doing whatever it is that is yours to do today. I want you to just remember that this is your important moment in the life of this community. You may or may not have been here for past decisions. You may or may not be here for future decisions, but today you are here for a decision to be made. And the wisdom to make that is within you. So I'm just going to send you all off into whatever is yours to do today with the blessing of knowing that each of you will kind of connect with something that I've said today that will hopefully allow you to see a future of thriving, of abundance, of fellowship, of community, of light, of love, of peace, of being that good righteousness in the universe. So thank you all for being here. It's been lovely for me to spend the day. I'm still going to do a prayer with you, but thank you all. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this process with you. And I'm just really excited about what you all are going to do the next time. So thank you. As we move into our prayer time, I wanted to share something from Unity co-founder Myrtle Fillmore. I know a lot of you have heard of the Fillmores, and probably you've heard more from Charles than from Myrtle. But I love this passage that she wrote because Myrtle had the awareness that she was allowed to write the Bible even in her words that spoke to her. So I'm just going to invite you all to allow yourselves a few breaths. Sometimes we can kind of get tense when we're like told, no, okay, go forth and be truth in the world. Ooh, yikes, I didn't know when I was eating my shredded wheat that was on the agenda for today. So we simply be still. In the beginning, love, good, and life created the thoughts that people my world. Peace flows through as a river. Glory and gladness roof its skies. Joy and health are the morning and evening stars. Willing service is the moon that follows after the great sun of righteousness. Understanding is the soil where springs forth the beauty of action. The angel that guards the Eden of my world is purity of thought. My love of life is absolute knowledge of truth. This is your world, created by infinite divine mind. So we breathe into that knowing that truth is that divine spark within each of us, that the same intelligence that allowed Albert Einstein and Galileo and Newton and Carl Sagan and all of the scientists that have done so many amazing things. That same mind is our mind. That is God mind, divine mind, Buddha mind, infinite mind. And I realize now that same mind is my mind. I give thanks. I accept truth into my life. I walk in peace and in light as I do what is mine to do on this day and all days, with gratitude, with love, and in peace. We know this is true, and so it is. Amen. Thank you.